Assalamualaikum and good evening to our fellow lecturer. So today I would like to present the results of our master cylinder lab session. Okay, let's move on to the next session. We were successful in identifying all of the components of the master cylinder. There are 14 components in total, starting with bright fluid reservoir, reservoir cap, fluid reservoir tank, reservoir diaphragm, reservoir clip, fluid control valve, stop pin vent port, reservoir housing, grommet, stop pin, master cylinder bore, primary piston, secondary piston, and lastly master cylinder piston. Following that, we were able to inspect the master cylinder components. First, inner surface of master cylinder. The condition is good with no rusty and we need to lubricate it. Number 2, the primary and secondary piston. The primary and secondary piston need to lubricate and a little bit worn out and also a little bit rusty on each piston. Number 3, diaphragm in a good condition. Number 4, bright booster in a good condition also without any damage and crack. And lastly, O-ring, a bit rusty and a bit worn out. And after that, we inspect the master cylinder to determine whether it was in a good condition or had already worn out. Firstly, push rod end. The diameter before is 29.41 mm and after 56.58 mm. Next is discussion. Number 1, based on your finding, what is the effect of the push rod end length on brake? From this experiment, we found that the length of the push rod end play an important role in a braking system. When the push rod end length is too long, there will be a delay on the time when the foot press the brake pedal until the brakes engage, causing a soft brake pedal. While if the push rod end length is too short, it would not apply enough strength on the piston, making the clamping force of the brake become too weak. It could possibly cause a malfunction where the brake could get stuck. Number 2, name the type of brake oil used for your car. Can a different type of brake oil be used and why? The type of brake oil used in a car is a .4. A car cannot use a different type of brake oil because each specific brake oil has its own properties, whether the viscosity, dry boiling point, or chemical composition. If a vehicle that does not use the suitable type of brake oil, it would possibly damage the master cylinder or prevent the transfer of force from the brake lever to the calipers. Number 3, name hydraulic tubes that are connected to the master cylinder and where all tubes are connected. The hydraulic tubes that are connected to the master cylinder is called as brake lines. These brake lines are connected to the brake caliper. Number 4, what is the function of diaphragm? The function of diaphragm in a master cylinder is to provide a variable control volume to accommodate change in the fluid level within the reservoir. And lastly, the summary. From the lab session, we learned about master cylinder parts name and how it works. Each part has their own function and purpose that make it very important in automotive. We also learned disassemble and master cylinder parts and make proper inspection. For inspection, we learn about the difference between good part and defect part. Rusty, wear, crack and scoring are the example of defect condition that we identify happen on master cylinder during this lab. In conclusion, the lab session for master cylinder has successfully done by realizing the learning outcomes. Performing this experiment helping us to understand and apply it in daily life in the future. Thank you.